Dustin the Diamond Poirier. Interesting where he needs to be in his career. Is he going to go for another title run? Probably not. But does he need a few send-me-off fights right now? I think he's in that perfect position in his career where it's smart to think, how can I wind down this career, right? Does it have to be at 155? I'd honestly go to 170 just so you don't have to cut all that weight. Make the last few fights easy, to be honest. I would like to see Poirier at 170 against just whoever. You know, it doesn't have to be a title run because, like, let's face it, I don't think Poirier is going to make it past the top guys at welterweight. But definitely there's some matchups there that would be good fits for him. So, like, a move to welterweight for Dustin Poirier right now just to kind of finish things off would be pretty good. However, there's one fight in particular, and I don't know the authenticity of this post I saw on Facebook, but it gave an interesting concept. Colby Covington would be a good fight. I think because, honestly, that fight could go either way. I'm not counting Colby out. But let's be honest. If you were to tell me back in 2019, Colby Covington versus Dustin Poirier, who wins, I would say Colby Covington would run through Dustin Poirier and grind him out for 5 rounds. But if they were to fight today, based on Colby's inactivity, Colby Covington would be, obviously trying to grind him out. But I feel he'd be a little bit more hesitant, which would leave him open to get clipped by Dustin more. Because if Dustin hits Colby in the right spot, because Colby, we did see in that Jorge Masvidal fight that you can hit Colby hard enough, and it's going to cause him to go out in some very extreme ways. It's like he's got that potential. Now, when Jorge caught him, he didn't put him out, but you could see that the chin is not what it was. He took a lot of damage in those Usman fights, and it's going to show. It's just showing that his chin's giving. That's probably why he's not fighting as much, is because he knows his chin's not as what it used to be. So Dustin Poirier would actually be very favorable to win this fight at this point, and Colby needs to write that check after his mouth cashed it, right? He needs to cash that check after his mouth wrote it, because he went on the schmo and started making a huge barrage against Dustin Poirier, and now he's trying to get a welterweight title shot again. Who's he going to face down? He wanted to fight Ian Gary, but then backed out against Ian Gary. But then he comes back to going for Ian Gary because he sees that Ian Gary isn't the level of grappler that he thought he was, or something like that. I don't know what's really going on. I'm just speculating what's going on in Colby's mind. But if he doesn't really call out Dustin as much anymore. Have you noticed that? How it's kind of like died down. Now, is he opposed to that fight overall? Not totally. He could turn a heel turn. Colby's very inconsistent with who he points his finger at and tries to target. Let's be real. However, if Colby Covington versus Dustin Poirier happens, I think that would be good, because then, Colby would have to finally, back up all those words. And then Dustin Poirier would probably get another gigantic laugh if he were to win that fight. Because Dustin Poirier, I remember when he won that Conor McGregor trilogy, that was the high point in his career. I think that was more valuable than any title shot, because he was always facing the best title holders at lightweight. Khabib, Charles Oliveira, and then Islam Makhachev. You got to give him a little bit of credit that he hung in there with Islam. He gave Islam some problems. Islam had to dig deep in order to beat Dustin. So what do you think Colby Covington's going to have to do to beat Dustin Poirier? Colby's going to have to really dig deep in order to beat Dustin, but I don't think Colby's got the grit anymore based on how often he hasn't even been fighting. So it's like, yeah, Colby's integrity as a fighter, everyone's criticizing him for him not taking fights and wanting to talk and just go on political rallies and stuff, which is, you know what? Everyone has a political opinion. I'm not knocking you for having a political opinion, but I'm just saying, it's like when you're a fighter and you just don't fight, But yeah, I think honestly I'd have Dustin as a favorite in that fight if that were to happen. And that's an interesting concept, that would be a really great way for Dustin to have one more, like, moral championship. Not like an actual championship, but like another moral overcoming a demon. Like, you have been talking all of this smack about me. I'm going to make you pay for it. And I think Dustin can, especially with that Benoit fight. Benoit, I feel like, is a way more intense grappler than Colby. And Dustin was still able to weather the storm and get one clip. And all it takes is a second, especially when you're hitting a current Colby Covington chin. But that's my thoughts on it. I'm not saying Colby can't win this fight, but Dustin's the one who's been putting it out there and has been getting the reps in and building himself up. That's what I got to say. Peace out. Later.